For those who don't know me, I'm Giulia Carvalhal. I'm currently a final year medical student from the northeast of Brazil in Paraíba. My main goal is to be a physician scientist in the US. I almost gave up of medicine for quite a while, but something really stuck with me, which was research. I think that's a combination of my passion and milestones and the people surrounding me. I always put 100%, 200% of effort in all that I do. I can create my own research question and I can scratch that from beginning into manuscript publication, and that's so powerful because I can do whatever research I want to do. I'm constantly reaching out people that even don't know me actually, and I have no fear of receiving a no.
Hey everyone, welcome to MetaCast, one more episode of the Meta-Analysis Academy podcast. Today with a very special guest, Giulia Carvalhal. Giulia is a former student of the Meta-Analysis Academy. She climbed up the rank all the way to mentor and meta writer in our program. She's published multiple papers and she's a force in education within the Meta-Analysis Academy. And she's also in her own journey to medical residency in the United States. And we're going to talk about USMLE and managing research and the USMLE preparation and medical school at the same time. We're going to talk about clerkships. It's going to be a fantastic episode. Giulia, thank you so much for joining. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Henderson. I'm more than glad to be here today. I'm actually very honored because I ran for the list of the previous guests and oh my God, they're so impressive.
As are you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I hope everyone liked this episode and I hope it can inspire any student.
You sure will. So we're going to start off with a quick introduction. Giulia is going to introduce herself, where she's from, and her current level of training. But before we do that, I just want to remind everyone that this podcast is not affiliated with, the institutions where I work, where Giulia works. The opinions here are our own. And in this podcast, you guys are going to hear all about the Meta-Analysis Academy results, all the impact that it's had on her own career. If you're interested in joining, make sure to click the link below here and join the wait list to join our team and participate in the Meta-Analysis Academy. So Giulia, tell us where you're from, your current level of training, and then we'll get into some questions about your journey to residency in the US.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So for those who don't know me, I'm Giulia Carvalhal. I'm currently a final year medical student from the northeast of Brazil in Paraíba. The university is the Federal University of Campina Grande, and I'm going to graduate in January 2026. And well, regarding my journey, I've been surrounded by research since the beginning of my medical school. So I've been done clinical cohorts, I've been involved in AI projects, and right now I'm doing some projects related to meta-analysis as well. And my main goal is to be a physician scientist in the US, so I'm also pursuing that career pathway.
Nice. We're going to talk all about that. So first of all, congratulations on being almost done with medical school. So 6 years where we're from in Brazil, and Giulia is about to graduate in a couple of months from the time we're recording this podcast. So that's a huge milestone. And for people who are graduating now, you including Giulia, it's been quite the journey. Medical school is already so demanding, but you've had a pandemic in the middle of this. You've had AI transform, teaching and education. And it sounds like you've done even research in these aspects. You've done research with COVID. You've done research with AI. Tell us a little bit about where your interest in research, where does it come from? Is it motivated by a desire to grow and come to the United States? Do you also like and enjoy doing research, a mix of things? Like, why is it that you're so interested in research?
Yeah, good question, definitely. I think that for most students, research is actually just a step to go to a clinical career, right, in the United States. But for me, it was actually the opposite. I choose the US due to research. So first, I choose medicine because of research. So during my biology classes, I was always fascinated about the discovery of new drugs, the discovery of new medications to treat new diseases. So that really resonates with me. So that's honestly why I choose to do medicine, because I could take care of my patient, but also I could discover something else. I could impact so many patients that I couldn't see it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And regarding like the struggles that I had during medical school, so I joined my medical school in 2019, and like 6 months after that, COVID happened, and my university got full lockdown, so all classes were online, and I was actually very unmotivated, right? I mean, it's really different to having classes about histology through a camera, through Zoom, from Meet. So I was very motivated. I almost gave up of medicine for quite a while, but something really stick with me, which was research.
Yeah.
And
it motivated you to keep going?
It motivated me to keep going. So I started searching what I could do right now, right? During COVID, what I could do to keep my research going, to pursue this dream. So I did mainly two things. I joined an AI interest group, and also I got involved in that COVID cohorts as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's something I want to talk about, because most people who join the Meta-Analysis Academy, they join it because they've been so frustrated about research experiences and trying to do research in their medical schools, and it's so hard, and you don't have mentors, and you don't know how to do it. No one will teach you. And there's also a group like yourself who have actually been successful in doing other types of research, but they also want to learn how to do meta-analysis. So before we talk about your incredible journey in meta-analysis, I want to talk a little bit more about these other projects that you've done. I mean, you were just in the beginning of medical school, maybe second or third year when you did this COVID cohort. Tell us how you got involved in that, the types of publications that you got. What was your role in these projects? Because medical students from all over the world, they're always interested, they always want to do research, but it's tough. You're from Paraíba, Brazil, and people from India, from Pakistan, from Colombia, they have the same struggles. Like, it's hard to do research. So how were you able to do research even before the Meta-Analysis Academy?
Well, this definitely was a challenge, well, I think that one of my main teaching point here, perhaps, is that I always try to do my best. I always put 100%, 200% of effort in all that I do. And I have no fear of receiving a no. So
you're very bold.
I have no fear of that. So I'm constantly reaching out people that even don't know me, actually, and I constantly do that to get what I want, to do what I want to pursue. So, for instance, the COVID cohort, I get in touch with some research with a near university of mine, not myself.
Not even your university, another one.
So I got a contact with another researchers in Brazil, and I put myself to do it. And my role in that COVID at the beginning was just doing data extraction. So I went to a hospital there during COVID, no vaccines. And I did multiple data extractions, like extract data from more than 150 patients.
Okay.
Like from charts,
Yep.
charts review, data extraction. And then I also did some data analysis as well. Back then I used Python a little bit.
How did you learn how to do Python?
Yeah, I learned by myself, to be honest.
That's incredible. So, this is good advice. Obviously, you're sharing your own experience, but what we want to do is translate it to the broader audience so they can apply it to their own careers. And I think the teaching point here is, go and learn stuff that's actually helpful to other people. And obviously, learning statistics and Python and R and this is really helpful when you're trying to get inserted in a research lab or a research group. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. Back then I didn't have ChatGPT.
Right.
So it was definitely kind of hard to learn by myself. But right now with those AIs, they can teach us a lot. Of course, we always need to self-doubt them, right?
Yeah.
To doubt them. But we can definitely learn a lot from them.
And not only you got involved in that project, but you actually published some papers, right?
Yeah, I did. So my group and I, of course, we published more than 6 papers.
That's
about
amazing.
That. Yeah.
With that cohort. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. We published in Thyroid, GCAM, and other journals as well.
amazing. Congratulations. And then you joined the Meta-Analysis Academy, and I want to hear a little bit about your journey. We're going to talk about clerkships too. My goal here, you mentioned earlier that, there's been a lot of, very prominent, very important guests in this podcast before, but you are one very prominent, very important guest too, because you are building such a beautiful journey. As a medical student, you've done so much. You have the publications. You have the clerkship now. You're building a very successful, strong application for residency. So I want to explore every one of these components. And before we talk about the clerkship and USMLE, I want to continue in the research track and talk about your journey in the Meta-Analysis Academy, because you already had research, but then you wanted maybe to get more papers, maybe to get also impactful papers. You joined the Meta-Analysis Academy. So tell the audience a little bit about your experience and, your results, the publications, the connections, how the Meta-Analysis Academy has helped you in your journey to build a really robust, career and application.
Yeah, perfect. Very thoughtful question. So, although I already had some research background before joining the Meta-Analysis Academy, what I feel that the Meta-Analysis Academy helped me the most was that now I have autonomy to do my own research. So I can create my own research question, and I can scratch that from beginning into manuscript publication. And that's so powerful because I can do whatever research I want to do. And of course, I got so many connections, from UPMC, from UT Southwestern, and also I got a chance to strengthen my previous connection. So, for instance, that COVID cohort that I participated, I still have some connection with some seniors because of the meta-analysis, because I still continue to do research with them with meta-analysis, and that's so amazing,
Nice. Yeah, so a lot of people won't understand this concept, but I just want to explain it to them, is that when you do a meta-analysis, the research, unlike other type of research, the research is yours if you're a first author. So the data doesn't belong to any specific institution. You don't have to review charts. You don't even need ethics committee approval for a meta-analysis. So all you do is essentially, come up with a great idea. We teach that in our program, and then you build the process by which you find papers, you get the data, you run the statistics. But because it's your project, you can invite other people to collaborate on your work. So the connections that Giulia was mentioning, those are connections from folks that she invited from Brazil, where she's from, but also from the United States. Some people even that she met inside the Meta-Analysis Academy. We have mentors, we have experts in our program. So these connections are also very valuable. In addition to the research, the connections that you make through research are also very valuable in your career. Yeah? Good. So I think you told me before we started the show that you have 3 meta-analyses at this point. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And surely working on some more. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, I am definitely. I mean, when I joined Meta-Analysis Academy, I also studied for Step 1, and I was in my clinical year, so I had a lot on my plate.
Wow. So you were studying for Step 1 at the same time?
Yeah, I was.
Wow. And you passed, of course.
Yeah, I did. Thank God.
Yeah.
But that's why I think I didn't have so many meta-analyses as some other students of Meta-Analysis Academy, but I'm definitely collaborating with multiple.
No, but you already have 3 meta-analyses published. That's really good. That's excellent.
Yeah,
that's extraordinary.
Excellent.
I think you're comparing to people who have 10 or 20, but like that's like not representative like of the whole. Like what you're doing is extraordinary. I mean, you have cohorts, you have meta-analysis, you have such a very well balanced research portfolio. It's going to be fantastic. Like your application is going to be so robust.
Thank you.
And Giulia, let's talk about this. Just to wrap up on the Meta-Analysis Academy, you then later joined as an ambassador and then as a meta writer. And I want you to explain the role of the meta writer to the group here, because most of them won't know what does a meta writer do.
Great. So yes, I joined as ambassador in the role of the meta writer, and basically my job is to review the papers that the meta-analysis students send to us. So I go through the papers, I review grammar, I review cohesion, I review actually also methodology as well. So I gave them some tips about how to do statistical analysis and how to report data in a better way to improve scientific writing. And I also gave them like huge feedbacks, how to improve their writing, how to get published in high impact journal.
Yeah, so that, and I'm really grateful for your leadership as a meta writer in our program. So Rafael Morgado, who's another student, he's our current coordinator of the Meta Writer program. And with Giulia, they review the papers from the students and give feedback, like Giulia said, on methods, on how you present the paper. And we feel that it's a huge part of the success of the Meta-Analysis Academy is thanks to the role that Giulia has, which reviews the papers before students submit for publication. So that's amazing, Giulia. And again, I'm so grateful for your collaboration, your partnership, your leadership inside the Meta-Analysis Academy. Not only have you had tremendous results, but you've also paid it forward by educating others, by helping others. And again, I can't thank you enough for this. It really means a lot to me and to all the students that you mentor and you guide through the process.
Wow, I cannot even take it enough. I mean, I learned so much about meta-analysis and about research and about networking and about leadership. Really, I can't take you enough.
Giulia, that's amazing. Let's talk about the clerkship. You're about to head south here from Boston to do a clerkship, in one of the most prestigious academic institutions in the U.S., UAB, University of Alabama. So tell us a little bit about how you got that wonderful opportunity, what sort of hurdles you had to overcome, because multiple international students are interested in doing an observership or clerkship, and you got one at such a prestigious institution. Yeah,
of course. So in Brazil, especially in my institution and multiple institutions in Brazil and also overseas, we don't have VSA law, right?
Right.
So that is a huge struggle because we don't have a lot of options to apply for a clerkship. So I basically got myself in a situation that I had, less than 10 institutions that I could submit an application to get a clerkship. Mm-hmm. But I, of course, submitted to them all. And I went through reviewing my personal statement and sending my CV and getting some letter of recommendations from my from physicians from my institution as well. And after that, at UAB, we also have an interview.
Okay.
So I collected all that data and submitted them all, and they invited me to an interview. And that interview was so nice. I mean, the physician was very warm, and she actually questioned me if I wanted to do another options of clerkship, because as who don't know, UAB has a policies of first come, first serve. Okay. And I submit a little later due to struggles with documents and stuff. And at first I submit to my main options, which would be internal medicine, subspecialists. But as I submit a little later, she got me an opportunity to choose other types of clerkships. So she questioned me if I didn't want to do a pediatrics clerkship, for instance. Okay. And I said yes, because we do want a clerkship. I mean, clerkship is one of the filters, right, of the USMLE match. So so I'm going to do a clerkship at UAB in pediatrics endocrinology next week.
That's awesome. You're going to spend 1 month there?
Yeah.
You excited for that?
Yeah, of course. I'm super excited.
And have you done observerships too, or not yet?
No. That's going to be my first U.S. clinical experience.
Okay. So it's a prestigious institution. I'm sure you're going to do very well. You're going to secure some letters of recommendations there. And then your goal is to ultimately apply for internal medicine?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. So here I want to talk about a really important component as people prepare for residency in the United States, one of the most important parts of this conversation, which is how to build a very successful application. And the answer to that is a really balanced application. You have to have strength in all all the components of your application. And that's why Giulia's story is so powerful. She's doing a clerkship at a major institution. She will do other observerships and get great letters of recommendations. But, she's going to take USMLE Step 2, but she's also going to get a high score when she takes Step 2. And she has about 10 publications at this point, some as first author. So, and she's got all this networking, people that she's met through her research. So when you look at successful applications for internal medicine or even more competitive specialties, having a balanced application like the one that Giulia has is critical for this. And I want to congratulate you again, Giulia, on working so hard on multiple components. You did the Meta-Analysis Academy when you were studying for Step 1. You passed Step 1. You're still doing meta-analysis, but now you have a clerkship here. So building this balanced application is really, really critical.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very honored.
And that's fantastic. This is your first time in the States or no?
I mean, for educational purposes,
okay,
yes.
You've been as a tourist before.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Giulia, tell us a little bit about your hobbies. When you're not doing meta-analysis, when you're not, studying for Step 1 and making connections and planning for a successful global career, what is it that you enjoy doing?
Yeah, okay. I really like to do strength exercises, like weightlifting and stuff. And of course, tourism is also a passion. So I'm very glad to be here. Yeah.
Traveling? Good. And you like Boston so far? It's cold. It's freezing here. We're in the winter, almost winter.
It is, but it's very charming.
It's not like Campina Grande, I can tell you.
But it's very charming. I mean, the autumn palette, it's amazing. It's outstanding.
It is beautiful. We're right now at the very end of fall here in Boston, and it's almost full-blown winter. It's the end of what I think is my favorite season, which is fall. But winter is no fun. I want to go back to Brazil every time.
I bet that.
Well, that's fantastic, Giulia. Again, you're building such a great story. I'd like you to give a word of advice for people who are in this journey, because we've talked about here clerkships and USMLEs and research, and this goes back to 3-4 years ago when you started doing this research. And so I want to hear from you a word of inspiration for folks who are starting out, who are in the middle of this journey too, who feel like, should I keep going, feel like giving up, you've done so well so far, and I want you to give a word of inspiration to them.
Okay.
Let me ask you this in another way. What has kept you going and doing well during this entire time? Like, what motivated you, or is it just you're very disciplined? Like, what keeps you going in such a long journey?
Okay, good question. So first of all, my main motivation is actually my passion, because I'm truly passionate about research. I am so happy seeing my first plots, that kind of stuff. And I'm really happy doing my discussion in my paper. So first of all, my passion. But what kept me going was also seeing all those milestones that I've been reaching during my time. So, for instance, last month I've reached 100 citations.
Wow! Congrats!
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I was so.
That is an important milestone.
I was so happy about that, and that also kept me motivated. And also people that are surrounded me. The people from Meta-Analysis Academy itself. They're so motivate people, and that also keep me going on this journey so far. And yes, I think that's a combination of my passion and milestones and the people surrounded me.
You mentioned the milestones, so that's an important factor, which is even though the journey's got 4, 5, 6 years, celebrate the victories in the meantime. So, Step 1 is a victory. Your first publication is a huge victory. 100 citations is a massive victory. So it's important to celebrate those victories in the middle of the journey. Giulia, you mentioned your interest in doing a physician-scientist pathway, and a lot of people internationally are not familiar with what that is. So to those of you who don't know, a physician-scientist is a doctor, an MD in the United States, typically who's done residency and has a career as a clinician, but also does a lot of research. So has maybe 50%, maybe 80% of his or her time blocked off to do research. So when someone wants to have a career like that, it may be wise to build more research skills before even doing residency. So Giulia already has 10 publications. That's massive if you're applying for residency. But that would get her a very strong academic residency, I have no doubt. But she's also looking to build the skills, to learn more and more. Maybe learn clinical trials, maybe learn translational research, maybe learn epidemiology, more statistical skills. And then a research fellow is a potential way of doing that. We were talking here before the show about whether to do or not a research fellow, and Giulia is considering that option, that possibility as well. But in her scenario, it's something to consider, because during a research fellow, not only you get publications. A lot of people think of research fellow just as a way to get publications, but it's a way to get skills that may be valuable in a career as a research scientist. Would you agree?
Yeah, of course. I definitely agree. I mean, if I wanted to build a career in research, I definitely feel that position as physician science is going to be a huge thing.
Yeah, and if you're going to build a career in research, it makes sense to build research skills.
Yeah. And also, I'm going to have a gap year. Yeah, because I'm going to graduate in January, and the match I would
You can only apply in September to start the next year in July. Yeah. So it'll be at least a year and a half before you start residency.
Yeah, exactly.
So that makes a lot of sense. That's a good way of using that gap year. All right, Giulia. So again, fantastic to have you here on MetaCast. We've known each other for a couple of years now as a student, and then mentor, and then educator, and then meta writer in the Meta-Analysis Academy. You even got a sweater there of the Meta-Analysis Academy. Yep, it's on the other side. Yep, there we go. She's a meta writer in our program, so she's a mentor, she's a dear friend, and I'm really glad to have you here, Giulia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Henderson. I'm really glad as well, and I hope you guys like the episode.
They're going to love it. Guys, make sure to send me questions if you have any. Send us on Meta-Analysis Academy Instagram. Follow us on our other social media. Subscribe to the channel. That's really important. And so you don't miss other episodes. And don't forget to join the wait list of the Meta-Analysis Academy so you can catch future episodes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you again, Giulia.
Thank you. Bye, guys.